This is for my website. It is a mini video on PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. It's a quick explanation of what PTSD is, and as a shaman, how I see it, and how my recordings help. Post-traumatic stress disorder is normally associated with soldiers. That's what most people associate it with. But it's much more than that. PTSD is a very big general heading of many symptoms, and it can cover many different traumatic events. If you were abused as a child, if you were raped, if you were in a very traumatic event like a car accident, if you've had a very harsh fall of some form, many things can fall into the category of PTSD depending on what your take on it is. Some people, they could get hit by a car and they walk away and there's no kind of stress afterwards. They don't have any kind of symptoms afterwards of saying, okay, you know, I now I have these fears. And other people don't. Other people, they relive it. They all of a sudden start having anxieties. A lot of people do not understand what triggers PTSD. Okay, now, as a shaman, what I see PTSD is, it comes from how the body and the spirit react. It depends upon what happens, what's said, what's done at the moment of the traumatic event. And when I say that, that's exactly what I mean. As a shaman, when I do these counselings one-on-one with people, I hear and I see a lot. And what it always comes back to is shock. Unforeseen. Shock. It just happens. It was just all of a sudden. That's normally the start. And that shock cascades. Because when we go into shock, as a human and as a being, as a body and a spirit, we go from having the ability to filter, be rational and everything, to not. And that all of a sudden surge of information without filters, without rationalization, without understanding, goes forward and causes all this buildup of not understanding or inability to fully file things properly. And then what gets worse is there's energy behind it. And then people are saying things and those put commands into it. Many things happen during a traumatic situation. And it's not just from battle, and it's not just from cars. It can be abuse. And when I say abuse, I mean sexual, physical, mental, emotional, psychological abuse. Events happen. Every time it happens, you can go into shock. And it doesn't necessarily stop when the event's done. It can go on for hours, days, months, years. That shock can. So, as a shaman, the way I look at it, I look at it as an event that has kind of put a pause on you, or is being held in place. It's negative energy that is holding you in place. You can't really move forward or get past that event. How do my recordings help? My recordings are made to help remove the energy, the negative energy behind the event or events, so that at that point you no longer feel the need to relive them. They become experience. The events collapse upon themselves after you remove the energy, the negative energy from them, so that they just become experience. And experience is something you don't have to relive. It is just something you know has happened and you can learn from. PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, is not a one-time thing as far as it only happens from battle. It can happen from many things, and it has many symptoms, and can be anywhere from, at the very least, annoying because it has modified your behavior, to debilitating, where you can't function. This does help. This will help remove that energy. So please, if you have PTSD, think about the things that went on and how wouldn't you like to be able to get rid of the energy that keeps the traumatic event in place and keeps you from moving past it. Thank you.